Just the other key point I'd just like to make is the key guide from the Auditors General in his on bias states, would a fair-minded observer reasonably think that a member of the decision-making body might not bring an impartial mind to the decision in the sense that he or she might unfairly regard with favour or disfavour the case of a party? And I think to just wrap it up, I think we're in a very unique situation. I've been involved in politics, both national and local, on the shore for 40 years, and I've never seen a situation quite like this, where national politics is imposed on the local scene. We all know what the political colours of people are. That's not an issue, never has been, but suddenly it is. And I'd just like to make the point to Joe, which I have made before, that he has to take great care. I personally think he's got a very strong conflict of interest. I'm not as flamboyant as Joe in making the case, but I think he should stand aside from this issue. And if he doesn't, I will be personally putting in a sort of complaint to the CEO on the grounds that I put out. So,
thank you, Bill.
It has to be done.
Any further questions?
I'd just round up saying the true test of an effective politician is the ability to change their mind if circumstances
Bill, we're nearing enough
change.
to 10 minutes now.
Thank
if you could just allow any questions. Yes, question from Member Cohen.
Being someone from Devonport, did you need your arm twisted to speak up in regards to the Takapuna beach?
Sorry, what was that?
Being someone from Devonport, did you need your arm twisted to speak up about Takapuna Beach Reserve?
Well, you well know, I've been involved in the heritage sector on the North for years and years, and I think it just concerned me greatly that the camping ground was sort of going. It is iconic. People have spoken about that. And what we don't want is just to become a sort of a glass and sort of a concrete sort of tower. The beauty of the North Shore, and it is special, and of course North Shore people recognise that, and it's vital that these sort of cameo situations are retained. There's no reason for it to go, and I think the point's being made, particularly now when the council is desperate for funds to take away sort of $100,000 plus rental. A dollar is really not smart either in the current political scene. No, it's just not sensible.
Further questions from Member O'Connor?
I was just going to say that you know what everybody's political colours are. I'm not sure that you know mine because I've never joined a political party.
No, well, I'm not saying everybody, but I mean certainly. And of course, the irony is, I think I sort of made the point that probably sort of the vast majority of people in the Save the Camping Ground thing, with due respect, to be National Party voters. I mean, that's the irony of it all at the end of the day.
Are there any further questions? No. So with that, I'll move receipt of Bill's presentation, seconded by Member Gillen. All those in favour say aye. Contrary, carried.
Thank you.
That brings us to Eileen Barclay. Left your pen? Eileen Barclay, there we go. Eileen, when you're ready.
I'm not used to doing this kind of thing evening. I thank the board or address the council. Thank you for having us. My name is Eileen Barclay, and I'm just an average citizen, so I haven't joined any of the aligned groups, but I have lived in Takapuna for about 40 years. The matter of the Northern Beach Reserve seems to have been going on for a long time. If my memory serves me right, there was a hearing a few years back, and I was left, and I assumed other people were left with the impression that the matter had been finalised then. The council removed a third of the campground to turn it to a public reserve, and the reserve now seems to have expanded an expanded cafe and shop. It has got 2 ugly sheds, and there's often a litter of boats parked on it. So the objective doesn't seem to have been achieved. Sifting through the 108 pages of the data that came after the last meeting, I saw mention of a beach management plan, which I didn't know about, and I was surprised that the established use by the campground could have been excluded, and yet provision made for even more marine-related activities. One wonders where the agenda for this came about. The yachties already have property further down the beach, and the boaties have the launching ramp and quite a bit of parking space for their trailers, so it would seem that they have their fair share already. The campground fits nicely into the space away from the main beach, which is where most people go. There was some mention of people being tired of public consultation, but I think we're only tired of not being listened to. With a proven 80% of the largest response you've ever had now wanting to have an upgraded campground, surely that is what must now happen. I take my hat off to the campground operators who have continued to provide a valuable service in less space and without security of tenure. We are fortunate enough to have a camper van ourselves, only an 85,000 one, not one of the big ones. And we tend to linger in beautiful surroundings and avoid the unattractive places. So our Takapuna campsite is a big draw card and probably doubly important doubly important with our economy having some dependency on tourism. Camper vans have limited storage facilities and a minuscule fridge, so although we are self-sufficient, we're constantly buying food or eating out. So there's a spin-off for the local town. With so many tourists using vans these days, we should ensure that we cater for as many as we can, and the government and council should be creating more campsites, not letting them go. Campgrounds are usually attractive, with green spaces, and we used to find it interesting to walk along the seawall and see what kind of vehicles were there. In closing, I would suggest that with only 8% favouring a marine hub, that the idea should be well and truly laid at rest permanently, and that whatever needs to be done to give the campground long-term security of tenure be put in place immediately.
Thank you, Eileen. Are there any questions from members? There are none, so thank you, Eileen. I'll move receipt and thanks for Eileen Barclay for her presentation, seconded by Member Gillen. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary carried. That brings us to Rick Mason, the 11th presenter. When you're ready, Rick.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, board members, councillors, supporters, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to first thank all the supporters that we've had, and it has been a long haul for us. We've been under this situation now for the last 4 years, so thank you for your support. And I know and you know that we are part of the community, and we're going to stay part of this community. The result of the public feedback has proven what we already knew, that there was massive support to keep the iconic and historic holiday park. This must surely show the council and board members that they were amiss in excluding the option to keep the holiday park in its entirety from the management plan that went out to public consultation. There are a lot of misnomers about the holiday park in that document, which I have written to the council about and had never had a reply. So we are talking a number of years now without any response. For the last 2.5 years, we've been managing the park on a month-by-month basis. And yes, it is a commercial enterprise, but the people who benefit most from that operation are the people sitting here. By far, the biggest expenditure we have is in rent and rates. Second to that is local contractors. Thirdly is local maintenance and suppliers. So we are well down the chain in terms of a return on that holiday park. During that period of month by month, obviously we've not been able to invest in the holiday park. The council hasn't expended any money on the infrastructure or the buildings for more than 30 years. The requirements of the lease is just to maintain those buildings. So we have been struggling on a year-to-year basis and now a month-to-month basis with maintenance costs which are between 4 and 6 times the average of a holiday park in New Zealand. Despite that, we have record numbers of visitors, and the visitors really get involved with the community, with Takapuna, and stay longer. Once they've spent one night there, they generally book for longer. So the community is benefiting for the long term for those people coming. And just to clear up what perceptions there are about the holiday park, we are 50-50 Kiwis and overseas visitors. And overseas visitors are due to increase. The holiday park sector is increasing, and the tourism sector in general is ready to take over from dairy as the biggest export market. So why would any council get rid of the #1 holiday park in the country? And I say that based on statistics. The average occupancy for a holiday park is 17%, and that's mainly due to the fact that most holiday parks are only occupied during the peak periods of the year. Takapuna has between 57 and 60% occupancy. That is absolutely a massive figure compared to the other holiday parks in the country. The board should not be shutting their ears to overseas visitors, as we've heard, as some of the post comments I have read are from Kiwis living overseas, not just people that have visited the holiday park. And the international interest in the holiday park should be a plus, not a negative. Where else in Takapuna is there a worldwide recognition of what we have got here? And that could be even greater. The potential of the holiday park is enormous. And as I've already mentioned, that lack of investment has impacted on what the council could have had in terms of rent and rates for the holiday park over the period this has been in debate. And we have heard several times tonight that we thought the debate was over. But you cannot wear us down, you cannot wear the public down. You should listen. 80% of people want to keep the holiday park. I was one of the people, obviously, that voted yes and yes for the holiday park for both my options. I was not prompted. That is what I truly believe is best for Takapuna, Devonport and Auckland and the holiday park sector right across the country. One of the founders of the holiday parks organisation was Speedy, who was one of the managers of the holiday park. And I think 8 holiday parks got together and formed the Holiday Parks Association. I would like to continue to be a member of that association and represent Takapuna Beach Holiday Park. Engaging with guests and spending time with them has significant impact on their experience. And you have heard from people here, they mix, they engage with the visitor. People are going away with good stories about Takapuna and about the locals. People tell us every day they can't believe how quiet it is, how peaceful it is, and how friendly the locals are. We are not a closed environment. The holiday park is open to all. Anyone can come through and talk to the guests, which they do, and lots of people come to talk to us in the office. And not one person has come and said to us, we think you should go.
Okay, Mr. Mason. Are there any questions for Mr. Mason?
I'm sorry, I haven't finished yet. The holiday park has been part of the business...
Can I just clarify how much more you have to say, because it's
not much.
well beyond the 3-minute speaking period.
The holiday park has been part of the business and local community for the last 80 years plus, and is probably one of the few original remaining businesses in the area. Many of the Takapuna local businesses have supported keeping the holiday park in recognition of the economic benefits tourism brings to the local economy. An independent recent study by the Holiday Parks Association has found that 72% of economic spend is in the local community. So everyone in Takapuna and Devonport, and I would include Devonport in those figures because most of our guests visit Devonport during their stays here, benefit from the holiday park being there. The economic outlook for the sector is very strong. Since 2008, and this is a bit of history, we have engaged with the council to try and obtain an extension to our lease in order to upgrade the park and the facilities. We have applied on several occasions and have even been invited by the council to go ahead and engage our solicitor to apply on our behalf, and also a consultant. This does not give the message to us that the holiday park lease is a non-event.